Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now, here's Jay.
And here's Jay. And there you are, the audience. And I'm so glad to hear you, see you. I got a decent imagination. I can hear and see you. And there's a few of you stuck on the freeway, but, don't worry. As the COVID thing goes away, the traffic will get worse, so don't worry about that. My microphone's off center. I think that's a little bit better. Not that you want to hear me, but I'm hoping that probably you might want to. So let me just say welcome to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET 1490, where we contemplate retirement and how to best prepare for retirement and how to best stay successfully retired. Me, I ain't retired. I can't imagine anybody wanting to be completely retired. I don't know. I'd like to get some feedback on that. And as you know, all lines are open. So I'd really like to get some feedback. So absolutely, meet your requirement needs, top off your tank, and make it all the way. I don't know where you're planning to go, but make sure you got enough gas. Or gee, these hybrids go 600-700 miles, and without needing gas, you can make it to Las Vegas and back from anywhere here in Southern California. So please call or email 866-955-2233. 866-955-2233. And, if you have a general question, it's just a general question. Let me make one thing real clear. If I have your phone number, likewise, if I have your email address, I will not abuse it. I will not be emailing you, calling you unless you want me to, or unless I'm returning one of your calls. It's very important. I know people put up Better Business Bureau things, but you know what? That's not nearly as important as being a member of Not Abuse Your Information Club. So, website, drhackham.com. That's a doctor without the little dot after the DR. But that's just HECM. Stands for Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. I think of it more as a program. Why? Because it doesn't mean you're taking money out of your home. It does not. That's just up to you. What does it do? Oh, I like that little circle. What does it do? It makes your equity liquid so that you can grab it if you want. It's just as good as if it were in a coffee can in the backyard, except that this gives you more choices and increases your line of credit as you go, and gives you other places that you might want to put that money in. Now, I do want to let you know we've got a really, really great... I also want to let you know that you can email me, and you can also watch me drink a sip of coffee. Since this is radio and... not everybody is watching, I do want to slurp to make sure that you know I'm drinking something and not that I haven't passed out. So we got a really great guest. I mean, when this guest came on, he just blew me away. That's Randbrenner. He is an IP. What is IP? That's what is that stuff when you're intellectual property professional whose passion is helping inventors, startups, and businesses of all sizes use licensing to turn their ideas or intellectual properties into income-producing products, services, and technologies. I mean, this is so basic that none of us think of it. His decades of experience run the gamut from medical devices to food technology to consumer products. And I want to say some of this now so we don't take up too much of his time. He's licensed in some of the biggest he has licensed some of the biggest Hollywood entertainment blockbusters, and we're not talking about my head, including Batman movies 1 and 2, and the #1 kids action TV show, The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I mean, don't you see all this stuff, things you can buy, things that you can talk about, hamburgers you can name after something and get paid for it? He's the man that knows all of this. So Rand speaks about licensing and is a featured speaker at investment conferences, trade shows, colleges, and startup events. He's a published writer with articles appearing in several prestigious trade magazines. So we're going to welcome him and get ready to take notes. No, you don't need to, because we always have a video or a recording to go back to. And remember, the future is when? When is the future?
Now.
Okay, yeah, it's now. Knowledge is power, and you can find that at 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233. Usually I talk about what's on the website, and I'm not going to do that. Just go there, except that I am caught up now, except for last week's show, and that'll be caught up by the end of today, and then it'll stay caught up on all of the videos from all of the radio shows. And I do think the videos are somewhat entertaining, because I have a lot of props and I show a lot of things, and I get mixed up whether this is radio or television, but so be it. So my day job is at the Lone Source. Are you listening, Dale? Dale Tillman is my broker. He's not listening. It's Friday night, so he's out trying to get lucky, I think. So my NMLS number is 384565. That's my lending number. And my Department of Real Estate number is 792630. Remember, I do not sell real estate. And another thanks to Daryl McCants, who does recognize this show on each of his own shows. The Southern California Business Report that he shares with Yvette Walker, and has me as on his advisory team, along with Bill Morris of UCI. Now, it was Bill Morris who actually introduced me to Rand, because I had both of them on a show at one time. So the Southern California Business Report, and Daryl has called me today, and I haven't returned it yet, so thank you for reminding me. He's on 4 p.m. along with Yvette on Tuesdays. So today, what is today? You know, we celebrate what today is, and it's National Paperback Book Day. And boy, so much. I remember when when I was a kid, everything was a paperback, and it was 25 cents, and I loved it. I read a lot. So I guess our parents could remember when it went from hardbound to paperback, and now it goes to Kindle. But during early times, I don't know if there's any props. You're going to have to.
Paperbacks.
Oh, let's see. What do we have in store for us for paperbacks? Boy, it's hard to tell what I'm interested in. Now, George Adamski turned out to be a total fraud. I shouldn't say total. Here's the other book he wrote. He may have started off seeing something, or at least believing he did, and then saw a cash cow, and that cow kept running. And then this, which of course was written after the film. I want to recommend to you, and I'm going to I'm going to tell our director here to remind me about that really fascinating film that they made in, what was it, Kentucky or Mississippi? Mississippi. About the local people who were involved in the making of this film. Remember that?
Oh,
it's really entertaining. It's really good.
Really.
It's a documentary. And of course, here's, this is actually a magazine, but that's okay. It's paperback. And here's some more magazines. And who do we have? Oh, just your general flying saucer. Now keep this out, because when NASA Nelly comes in, I want to be able to show that cover. And Invasion 6, the greatest show on Earth. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be on the radio, but I'm getting sidetracked looking at neat things. And who is that? That's our favorite man, Mothman. And John Keel, I think, had written something in this. John Keel, though, if you want to read something that is about these things and someone who draws no conclusions whatsoever is just a great reporter, I think John Keel's the name. But anyway, during early times, books were sold in heavy wooden covers. They are beautiful, too. Today, in 1935, is that what I'm supposed to say? Today, in 1935, a British company named Penguin published the first paperback ever in the history of paperback books. And if I had a bigger camera, I'd show you how a penguin walks. But the first batch of books included works by Ernest Hemingway and Agatha Christie. Good stuff. A few years later, 1939, publishers Simon and Schuster, these companies are still around, produced the pocketbook paperback in the U.S., and it stated that Lost Horizon was the #1 publication printed in that time, and I can see where that is. It's fascinating. It's full of dreams, and who doesn't want dreams? So did you know it's claimed that the first book ever written using a typewriter was The Adventures of Tom Sawyer? Reminds me of On the Road with what's his name? That wrote, the guy from the 50s that wrote On the Road and did it with, he had typewriter paper rolled up like toilet paper so he wouldn't have to stop and change it. But I mean, the name is so famous. It's so famous that I can't remember it. Anyway, the Bookmobile was launched in 1957. It was a horse. Ow, my arm hurts. Ooh, thank you. We'll have to worry about that arm later. It was a horse-drawn wagon run by George Moore in Great Britain. That is a really cool picture, but I've seen bookmobiles. Actually, I saw a bookmobile.
Jack Kerouac.
Jack Kerouac was the man that rolled up his typewriter paper like toilet paper. They both start with T, so why not? But here you go. And it's served books from bookshelves mounted on the outside and traveled between 8 villages. What's nice to see now is, and I've got some clients little ways from here in Hermosa Beach, and they have, I don't know whether, I've never asked them whether they need to give permission, but they've got one of these boxes, take a book, leave a book. And that's a great thing. The word bookworm originated from insects who lived in and ate the binding of books. Wow. Hence, avid readers consume the books they read, and they're bookworms. Readers tend to live longer over non-readers. Did you know that? Do you read much, Sean?
Not necessarily books, more like technical stuff.
Well, that's reading. That's reading. In fact, technical stuff may keep your mind going even more. And I can understand how some of that can be because, like Alzheimer's comes in when you start using your brain a little bit less all the time. That's why I'm told to keep listening to loud music. Oh, I don't mean the kind where you need earplugs like some of the live performances I've been to when I was younger. And the lighting matches and then lighters and waving them around. Remember those days? And, but, loud nonetheless. Anyway, a study was published in Social Science and Medicine that reading books for at least 30 minutes to an hour each day can increase a person's lifespan. And it's actually today, what else is it when you put your book down? And I guess reading also goes would also include Kindle. Now, would it include audiobooks? My opinion is yes, because your mind is still being used. So have at it, especially if you're driving, listening to audiobooks. Your mind is getting a workout. Today is Talk in an Elevator Day. Have you ever talked in elevators? I've done all kinds of things in elevators for attention, but then again, I'm an attention getting kind of person who, I don't know. Anyway, July 30th is, and today is the 30th. So we got to find an elevator and do something in it, talk with it. With most of us, this is the time when we check our smartphones. And of course, we didn't have smartphones when I started talking in elevators. Sometimes to avoid verbal communication with other elevator riders. This day points us in another direction. If you ride in an elevator today, make it a laughter break. People do usually laugh at me when I do something in an elevator. Anyway, try out your stand-up comedy, or you can show other passengers a wound and ask if it looks infected. Okay, I thought you were talking about kind of getting something started like was in Jaws, but you're talking... Anyway, you can crack open your briefcase or purse and while peering inside and ask, got enough air in there? Or maybe just stand silent, motionless in the corner facing the wall without stepping out the door. Wear a puppet on your hand and talk to other passengers through that puppet. Start a sing-along. If your comedy is not your style, break the silence with miniature spelling bee. And did you know, that should be pretty miniature, did you know the fastest installed elevator reaches speeds of 67 feet per second in the Shanghai Tower? That's pretty high up, and 67 feet per second. We'll have to ask NASA Nelly, but that might be faster than many rockets. And that's China's megatall 128-story skyscraper. Elevator music, and you know I'm really into music, but elevator music first appeared in the 1920s to calm the fearful passengers who used the elevators for the first time. Okay. But it turned into just meaning, empty music, kind of like, those jazz lovers that like Kenny G. To me, that's just elevator music. There are older buildings in the U.S. that still employ elevator operators, I didn't know that manually operate it as well as serve as a greeter and guide to passengers. Examples are the City Hall building in Buffalo, New York, and the Commodore apartment building in Louisville, Kentucky. Wow, anybody ever remember? Sean, I think you're too young. I don't know if you're listening. You may be off reading a technical journal. Do you ever remember those? So there was a little seat that pulled down. They used to sit on, well, like a round wooden seat.
That was before my time.
Yeah, well, I wish I could say that about me, but no, it was not before my time. And they had this crank. They'd crank it in one direction all the way around and then back. And I was just so fascinated by that. It was kind of like when you opened a safe, or a lock, when you had a combination. They had some way of twisting, and they always announced, what was on that, whether it was lingerie or whatever, or toys. Of course, I used to love the toy department at Hudson's in Detroit. That was on one of the higher floors. Electric trains. And what about electric trains? Here on this show, we believe in challenging the status quo. Families and people need to be active, not reactive. Let me, Kathleen, can you hand me this? I can't use this arm. I'm not, please, the picture.
Oh.
Thank you. Sorry about that. This is a picture of Rand. I'm just trying to take up a couple more minutes because I know it's time for a break, and I didn't want to start the birthdays. But here is a nice picture of our guest. So I think we can go to break now, correct, Sean? Okay, well, let's do it now because it's a good break time for us here. So thank you so much for listening to me, but I got a lot more to yap about, and we have that really great guest that's going to really get our minds rolling and make us live longer because of that. Take care. Oh, it's Gerald. Hey, welcome back to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KME 1490 here on planet Earth. Our guest is still not like Nasanella. He's not coming from outer space, but he's not exactly with us yet. So we'll keep trying, and we'll bring him to you as soon as we possibly can. So let's get into famous people's birthdays. Christopher Nolan was born today in 1970. That makes him, boy, he's in his 50s already. So let me do a picture of Christopher. Let me see. That looks...
Yeah, Christopher.
Yeah, actually, this looks like a picture that looks like a prop from Memento.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was meant to be. Anyway, it's younger. Since most people were younger, here we are a bit older, and here we are real old. No, here we are a bit older, and that's the look I know of, and we know right now. So Christopher Nolan is a British-American film director, producer, and screenwriter, and particularly influenced by the work of Ridley Scott, and so am I, by the way, although, you know, I haven't done any movies, but let's hope my imagination was highly influenced by Ridley Scott, who did, of course, Blade Runner, and, you know, on and on and on. Anyway, Alien. And science fiction films, 2001: A Space Odyssey and Star Wars. He began making movies at the age of 7 and borrowed his father's Super 8. Look at all these kids with their Super 8s. When I was a kid, there was no such thing as a Super 8. Anyway, shooting short films with his action figures. And few other people did that too with action figures. He built sets from clay, flour, egg boxed, and toilet paper rolls. By age 11, he decided to become a professional filmmaker. After he earned a bachelor's degree in English literature, he worked as a script writer and camera operator and director of corporate videos at an industrial at a firm that made industrial films. He released his first feature film, Following, which I don't remember. I do remember It Follows, highly recommended horror film. Anyway, It Follows, but this is just called Following. In 1998, where he wrote, directed, photographed, and edited. His next successful film project was Memento in 2000, which was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. So here's a short list of Christopher's films. Memento. And, yeah. Oh, is it any better? Does it show any more inside? Yeah, this is, well, you'd have to watch the movie. And if you haven't watched it, watch it. And I'll let you put this back together. 2 Oscars. Insomnia, 2002. And this is actually the original Insomnia. I get Sideways sometimes, not to mention the film Sideways. When there is a successful foreign language film that has to be redone right away. To me, and Robin Williams was in both of these. The Birdcage or La Cage aux Folles was, to me, a masterpiece. I just didn't go out of my way at all to see The Birdcage. I did see La Cage aux Folles at the Pantages on stage live with the guy from Bat Masterson and Gene Barry. But this was a remake of the 1997 film, so we only have 5 years in between. But this film Stars Stellan Skarsgård, who I really think is very good. Batman Begins, 2005.
Got two different covers, the same movie.
2 discs deluxe. Okay, so Batman Begins with 1 disc here and 2 discs here. Okay, so we'll go with the 2 disc. Fantastic, emotional, genuinely gripping. Okay, that's what it says. And of course, it was good. It was good. And I enjoyed it very much. 2005, Christopher Bale, Gary Oldman. And this was a remake of the Batman film series that included 3 films, all with Bale as Batman. Film nominated for 1 Academy Award, and of course Batman before that with Tim Burton was what's his name, who was also a great actor and a really, I mean, who would have thought that what's his name, who was a comedian until that time, and of course did a magnificent performance in Birdman of a couple years ago, would have been a great Batman, but to leave it to Tim to know what's what. The Prestige in 2006 starred Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, again, Michael Caine, Scarlett Johansson, David Bowie as Nikola Tesla, and nominated for 2 Academy Awards. I really, really love that. I really love the idea that David Bowie acted as Tesla. What do you got there? Okay.
And that other actor was Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, of course, the other Batman. I won't say the original Batman because that goes way back. The Dark Knight, 2008, starred Christian Bale, Heath Ledger. That was his last complete film.